He's got a long nasal horn. He's got a, oh, geez, okay, I forgot. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the many interpretations of Triceratops, where this time we will be focusing on video game depictions of the animal. Same standard disclosure, I won't be looking at every single one to ever exist. That'd be quite the hefty list, and I get pretty repetitive all things round when I'm talking about that many things. So if there are some that I left out, then be sure to let us know in the comments and, let other people know. That way they can, view more awesome depictions of this animal. Anyway, let's get right into it. We'll start off with carnivores. So as I've mentioned before, carnivores is a franchise that depicts alien dinosaurs, essentially. It takes place on the planet known as FMMUV 32, which has aliens that look a lot like this, and the whole style kind of makes them look like retro dinosaurs, very old paleo art, so our very old understanding of these animals. This Triceratops certainly looks like that. It's got a really kind of like arched back, very sluggish build, a dragging tail, and the head looks very interesting. The way that the frill almost looks like it's a little bit more fused to the back. It's very strange and very, very awesome. It's extremely stylized, and I like it. That nasal horn is absolutely massive too, especially compared to the brow horns that are relatively small. I love the retro look of it, so I think this is a fantastic start to the list. I think I say that every time, but it's true. Next up, we have fossil fighters with this really cool looking color. The base blue with some, I want to say, gray coloration. I like the orange stripes on his brow horns, and those occipitals, or the spikes on his frill, also have a very interesting shape to them. So that's also a really good one. And then we have Zoo Tycoon, which has a design that looks quite like this, which I think looks really cool. Has a really good shape about them. The brow horns look awesome. The nasal horn looks really good. I think it's a pretty solid design. Then there's also Zoo Tycoon 2, which also has some sexual dimorphism in the colors. You have the males here who have a base color of green with some orange spots here and there, especially on the frill, which I always think looks really cool. And the brow horns I think look awesome. The nose horn looks really good. And then the females that are more brown in coloration, but also have those same orange spots. I like that little consistency right there. I think they all, across both the games, look really solid, and yeah, I think they capture Triceratops pretty well. Now, we will move on to Jurassic franchise depictions, and I'll keep all of the the Jurassic Park video games together. Full disclosure, there are a lot, and I think that it's going to be Jurassic Park and World games that take up the majority of this list, because there's just a ton. So first, there is Jurassic Park, which is an NES game. You got this very vintage-looking Triceratops, kind of like top-down view. They look really good. I think that they capture the style of the movie very well. Certainly reminds me of that anyway. Then there's also Jurassic Park, the SNES game. It has the same basic shape to it, very reminiscent of the movies too, with the coloration that matches the movies as well. A lot less orange in this one. And then there's Jurassic Park Trespasser, which is interesting. Very thin brow horns, extremely small nasal horn. The beak looks pretty cool. I like that. And I like the way that the frill looks, but its legs are also kind of like pillars almost. They're almost like wooden stakes or wooden pillars. I don't know. Walking around, very elephant-like in shape. And the coloration is very reminiscent of the movie as well. So they are keeping that part consistent. There's also Warpath Jurassic Park. I kind of like it here. I mean, I like the shape of the frill mostly. And I think that the head shape looks pretty good too. It's got a longer body than what would be typical, but it does have these large scales right here. Like if you remember from the first part, Triceratops did have something like that, where it's normal scales across the whole animal's body, but then randomly there would just be a large scale, a pebble, a large pebble, essentially. I think that these look pretty cool. They really fit the style, and I like the different colors that are applied to it. After that, there's Jurassic Park 3 Park Builder. We have this one right here. This is an interesting design. It looks very different from the one that shows up in the movie. Now, what stands out the most to me are the front feet. Those front feet actually look a lot closer to the real-life Triceratops than the movies did, which is interesting. The movies went with more of an elephant-like foot, and that was very standard for most ceratopsian reconstructions. This one, it has like the 3 toes on front, which is true. Triceratops had those 3 toes that were sticking out like that, and then 2 toes that were hanging off the back, essentially. That seems to be shown off here, and I like it overall. I think it's a pretty good design. The frill looks really good. The colors are pretty cool, and the face looks really good. Not much else I can say. We don't get to see much of it, but yeah, from what I do, I think it looks good. Jurassic Park Operation Genesis certainly does look a lot more like the movies. I think it might look a little bit more like the Jurassic Park 3 ones, which we don't see much of them. But the overall way of the animal skull looks, I think, matches that a little bit more because it's a little bit more elongated. It's not nearly as stubby as in the first Jurassic Park film. I think the nasal horn looks good and the brow horns look good. Not much else I can say. I think it looks good again. I think I'm saying good too many times, but hey, such is life. And then we have Jurassic Park Explorer. This looks interesting. I like the way that the head looks. That tail is where you lose me, though. The rest of the animal looks decent. It's the tail. Look how weirdly disproportionate that tail is. It's like it's really separated. It's like someone attached a brand new tail on top of the old tail after it lost its tail. Or it's like it's a giant lizard, right? And it lost its tail, and it got that genetic material that allowed it to regrow its tail, you know? So now its tail is starting to grow back, but it's not quite finished growing back, you know? Dinosaurs are not lizards, by the way. This is like under the logic that they want to push in the Jurassic World films, that these, yeah, you get what I'm saying, right? I don't even know if I do, but yeah. Then we have Jurassic Park the game. This is like the only time in the Jurassic franchise, as far as I know, that we see a T-Rex fight a Triceratops on screen. Very crazy, right? Rexy bites the brow horn. It looks like the frill was made a lot larger, and it's got some interesting lines moving in from where the frill structures are, those little spikes. I really like the way that the brow horns look, though. I like the way that they're shaped. And yeah, I'm just not a fan of the feet mostly. But yeah, this is pretty good. You know, I think it matches up to the movies very well, especially the younger one who has smaller which has smaller brow horns, smaller nasal horn, like it's still growing. And then in Jurassic Park Builder, we have the baby one, which I think looks really good, and the adult that also looks pretty good. They're sticking to that Jurassic Park style, and they do a good job at that. Once again, I always like Lego versions of these dinosaurs. In Lego Jurassic World, you get the Triceratops. You know, it matches up to the Lego minifigure that we have in the real life, and I think that figure is really cool. I think it looks awesome. The colors are really consistent to the movie version, and yeah, there's not much else I can say. It's a Lego Triceratops, and I love Lego dinosaurs. I think there needs to be more, you know? I think there needs to be more. But yeah, very cool. Love the fact that you can play as it. Okay, now we have this happy little fella in Jurassic World the game. This is the lowest level one that you get, and yeah, it looks pretty good. You know, it's got a massive frill. Pretty long tail overall, you know. It's they had a pretty short tails, you know. Triceratops did, and it's fairly standard. Then you get up to level 31 to 40, and it looks like this. Not really a fan of this one. Longer spikes. The horns curve out to the side, which I think is kind of cool, a little bit, and the nasal horn looks interesting. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. I typically just have this guy set because it's just, I don't know, it looks more Triceratops to me. Right here you have you have Agathamus if you want to go that direction, you know. But yeah, no, this is Styracosaurus mixed with Triceratops. Colors are cool though. World Alive. It remains fairly consistent with its movie appearances, straight down to the elephant feet and the type of browner coloration, the long tail and all that. So there's really not too much I can say. I like how the horns kind of curve out to the side first before moving in like that. You know, it makes it look like it's layered in keratin, which I always think is really cool. And the spikes on the head are kind of reduced, which is, you know, that's fun. It does lack the large scales on its body, though. These are relatively smooth scales, which is an oddity because in the film, they actually have the larger scales that are random throughout the body. So I don't know what's up with that. Jurassic World Primal Ops, it keeps the Jurassic World style of the dinosaur because the design is tweaked a little bit from the Jurassic Park version. And it does look like that. I think this actually matches up to some actual models that we've seen. So they kept that consistency, which is, you know, that's cool. And then we'll go ahead and move on from the Jurassic franchise appearances and go on to the others. Okay, this is Crash Bandicoot Warped, which is the third game in the Crash Bandicoot series, which happens to be like my favorite childhood game. And as you can see down there's our little Triceratops friend. We're going to try to talk about it as I outrun it. I absolutely love this game, so I'm very excited to do this. Let's get it. There it is. It's pretty stylized, a pretty hefty boy. You know, he's very, very stocky. The horns look fantastic, all three of them. The frill has a very interesting design to it. And, oh, wow, that was a lot shorter than I remember. I mean, I know there's different levels that has that, but still, it was shorter than I remember. But he looks good. Looks good. He's got a long nasal horn. He's got oh, geez, okay, I forgot. That's on me. I completely forgot. Let's try that again. He's got a long nasal horn, and relatively short brow horns, and the colors are pretty cool. Of course, this is the updated Insane Trilogy edition, which is, you know, updated graphics and all that good stuff. So this isn't how it looked like in the original game, but this is still pretty close. You know, it has the whole idea down of the way it used to look like. And yeah, no, I think it looks great. It's just a blast from the past, if you ask me. I played these games all the time with my siblings, and it's just, I love it, you know? I love it. I wish there was a way to go back to the old graphics, though, kind of like Halo 2 Anniversary or Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary. If there was just that, then this game would be perfect. But yeah, that is the Crash Bandicoot Triceratops. Such a handsome fella. Dino Crisis 2 has a very cool stylized looking Triceratops. I think the colors look really awesome, at least in this art. Anyway, the spikes on its frill look really cool. The feet are a little bit closer, kind of. Not really. No, not really. It has feet though, and the brow horns are oddly kind of placed, but I still think they look really cool. I like the patterns in its head, and yeah, that's a cool one. In Turok, you have this one. I love the way that those horns kind of like tilt down like this. Which Turok is this? Turok Evolution? Yeah, in that one, in Turok Evolution anyway, I think that those brow horns look really cool. And the frill shape is very interesting. It really reminds me of like Pentaceratops or something like that, especially with those very thin front legs. You know, it's got the proportions that are a lot more reminiscent of Pentaceratops, which is very different. This one really stands out on the list, but I like it. It looks like there's this fella too from Turok Dinosaur Hunter. The legs are a lot bigger, and proportionally it's very different from the one in Evolution. Those brow horns are also very small, but it's, you know, it's always cool to see people riding dinosaurs like that. Very cool in-universe stuff going on. Nice green coloration too. Primal Carnage never actually had a Triceratops, but I was around, like I never actually played the game, but I watched a lot of people play the game, and I was like, I would always keep up with the updates for some reason. I know that Triceratops was supposed to get added at one point alongside some vehicles. Like it was supposed to be added with vehicles. The humans were supposed to get vehicles, and then Triceratops would have been a counter to vehicles. But it never happened. We never got Triceratops in the game. Here's one design that I found that I think looks really cool. Very stylized, but I love the way that the head looks. Love those colors in the frill. The brow horns look cool. And the body looks fantastic. Like, look how pebbly this skin is right here. It just like looks really gruff from most that we've seen. And I think it would have been a cool tank of an animal to play as. Colors are also awesome. I'm sure that you would have been able to change the colors, of course, but these colors that they have look really cool. In Jurassic the Hunted, we have this one right here. More of a tannish color. Tannish, yellowish, reddish, orangish color. It looks good. I like the way that the frill looks. It looks like this is a Prorsis, you know, Triceratops prorsis, because those epicipitals, those spikes are fused to the frill. It's got a longer nasal horn. Yeah, it looks really cool. I really dig this model. In the Hunter Primal, we get this one that kind of has the shape of the Jurassic Park Triceratops, but has some quills on the back. You know, very speculative feature, but we are bound to see some of those every once in a while. Those are probably one of the most popular speculative features on dinosaurs. I like the way that they look. I like the way that the frill horns look. The brow horns. I like the way that the brow horns look. They kind of, you know, they grow out like that, but then they start to curve upwards like this, which I think looks really cool. I love seeing stuff like that, and we'll probably talk about that a little bit more with other depictions. And this fella is from Ark Survival Evolved. So I think I had some folks tell me on the Styracosaurus video that this is actually a mix between Triceratops and Styracosaurus, and I believe it, because of those spikes on the frill, which are a lot longer than what you would see on Triceratops. All around, though, I think this is pretty good. Those feet are a bit strange, but I think it's good. The colors on this female in particular look awesome. I love when ceratopsians are given like a brighter face in contrast to the rest of the body, even though it does have some brighter colors here and there. No, I like it. I like it. The horns look pretty good. The nasal horn in particular looks good. I love the way that the beak looks. Your eye is quite mesmerizing. Yeah, no, I like it. Like pretty. Ooh. What is going on with you, my friend? Those are some colors. Those are certainly some colors. The Isle Legacy. I love the way that this looks. Like, this looks fantastic. If it looks like this in Evrimo, which I think it looks pretty similar, then it's going to look amazing. The body looks great. I love the way that the feet look. It's got 4 toes on the back, which I don't think I've mentioned that yet, but Triceratops had 4 toes on its back legs. And again, the 5 on the front. You'll notice how there's like 3 right there in the sand, and then there's 2 vestigial toes hanging off the back. It's got the large scales. The head looks so good. And the sounds are great. The animations are great. I love the way that stop, man. I'm trying to look at you. I love the way that the beak looks. And the brow horns look fantastic, and I love the colors I can give it. Always place the blue. Always place the blue. But yeah, this one's fantastic. Right? No complaints at all. Now there's Triceratops from Saurian. Now, of course, this game, it's been kind of trapped where it has been for the longest time. I don't think it's going to get any future updates, which is truly unfortunate. But that also means that I'm really not familiar with Triceratops from the game. However, I am familiar of it from this very awesome book called Saurian, a field guide to Hell Creek. Very highly recommended, this book. It has a whole section about Triceratops. Boris is here. Most likely would have been like in the game. Very awesome model. Love the way that it does. RJ Palmer always does a fantastic job with his paleo art. You also get some growth stages here. This is what it was one of those dinosaur survival games, so you would have grown as this, you would have started off as this little fella right here, growing into the larger one up here. It would have been really cool to see. Fortunately, I think at most you can play right now is Dakota Raptor. But still, the design looks fantastic. Now, we have Path of Titans. Now, this is not Triceratops. This is Triceratops, which translates to Dawn Three-Horned Face. As in, this is essentially the precursor to what we would know as Triceratops. At least it's a dinosaur that lived before Triceratops. I mean, very similar to Triceratops, but potentially larger than Triceratops. It's also a dinosaur that we know very little about because it's known from very fragmentary remains. So not much else I can say about it other than the fact that, yes, it looks very, very similar to Triceratops. Possibly larger, possibly not. So yeah, this is the Path of Titans Triceratops. Everything does look really good. The feet look really good. The head looks awesome. The body looks great. There's even a variant that you can give it that gives it some speculative quills. So all across the board, I think that this is a very good model, and very good animations, very good sounds all around. I love the way that it looks. Additionally, there's also this handsome fellow right here, which is the Triceratops mod that completely redoes the model and everything, and it looks gorgeous. The other one looks fantastic, but this also looks fantastic too. Everything also matches up. It has the larger scales. The head looks so cool. My favorite thing, the tail also looks great. Proportionally stubby, like they were. The feet look great, and the horns. The horns, I think, look fantastic. Also good noises here. But what I like about the horns is the fact that they kind of curl the way that they do. They look like they are certainly structures that are layered in keratin, which of course they would have been in life. This just looks gorgeous. I love how huge that frill is. Again, the head looks great, and I gave it some bluish colors, a little bit more turquoise. I like it. So everything about it looks great. These two are absolutely phenomenal. It's just a shame that we don't know too much about Triceratops, but yeah, looks beautiful here. Now we have Prehistoric Kingdom. Now, I want to start off by saying that Prehistoric Kingdom is one of the only games that, as far as I can think of, that actually has the two species and, distinguishes both of them. You have Triceratops horridus right here, and this Prorsus right here. You can really tell that, you can look at them and kind of examine the skeletal differences between them. As I say before, the easiest way to do it is probably by looking at the nasal horn. If it's smaller, it might be horridus. If it's larger, it might be Prorsus. Regardless, the model looks fantastic. I love the blue right here. Let's place some of these fellows. I'll place this one. Place one of these, right? Then we'll place a Prorsus in here. Which one, though? We'll place you. There they are. As per usual, Prehistoric Kingdom just really, really, really nails it with its dinosaurs. These two fellas look incredible. Their whole build looks great. Their skull looks awesome. That sound it made was really cool. The horns look fantastic, the way they kind of curl like that, how I kind of mentioned it before with previous depictions. And you can see the large scales. This is a great way to show it off. See how it's really large right there, and it's kind of smaller, more consistent with the rest of the scales. Looks so cool. Look at the yellow lines right here. Let's see what Nigel Marvin has to say.
Triceratops, one of the most recognizable and largest dinosaurs of its kind. Just think, this species was completely eradicated in a mass extinction that killed 3/4 of the species on Earth. And 66 million years later, it has the chance to walk the Earth once again. We're witnessing something truly remarkable.
I agree, Nigel. I agree. We might as well build off of that. Yes, Triceratops is one of the dinosaurs that went extinct at the end of the Cretaceous period. But it wasn't Triceratops horridus here. Triceratops horridus had already gone extinct. It was Proorsis that was wiped out by the asteroid at the very end of the late Cretaceous, in the Maastrichtian, of course. Look how cool your colors are. Wow, I like it. Yeah, Proorsis here is the one that went extinct alongside T-Rex at the very, very end. But just look at these guys. Just look how magnificent of an animal Triceratops is. That goes for pretty much all of the other depictions I've looked at. It just looks so, so cool. So cool. I know it's not underrated, but Triceratops is underrated, you know? I love it. It's so good. Paleopines has this handsome looking fellow right here. I love the way that it looks. Nice little design that helps fit the little established universe that they have going on. Very stubby features, small brow horn, small nasal horn. It just looks delightful. You know, you gotta love it. Okay, since I already have this guy hatched, we might as well talk about the fossils and archaeology Triceratops. Look at this handsome fella. So everything looks fantastic, really. You know, I love the Minecraft designs that you know, do a really good job at making it look like it's Minecraft, while also making it look really good as the animal that it's meant to be. And Triceratops is a great example. Look at that, it actually lies down correctly. Like, it lies down with its legs kind of like pointing out like this. See, because reptiles don't have the same range of motion as mammals would have. A lot of depictions would make them kind of like lie down like an elephant, which, you know, I understand that logic. It's a big animal, but they wouldn't have the same flexibility in their hips to be able to do that. It's cool that they have them lying down like that. That looks really good. Looks really good. I never noticed that before. Colors are also awesome. Yeah, we got another one out there somewhere. If you haven't watched the Minecraft Dinosaur series, highly recommend it. You know, not really. You don't have to if you don't want to. But yeah, it's a fun time. It's a lot of laughs. And there we have it. Those are some of the depictions of Triceratops in video games. Once again, I know that there's probably more that I hadn't included in this. In fact, I know there's not. So go ahead. You can go ahead and talk about that type of stuff in the comments. You know, let's start discussions about these different things. But we should be back onto the regularly scheduled program when it comes to the many interpretations of. I should be putting out a poll tomorrow. So be prepared for that, and we will vote for the next creature that we'll be taking a look at now that Triceratops is wrapped up. Once again, everybody, thank you so much for 20,000 subscribers. Thanks for getting us to this point. It's absolutely awesome. As many of you probably know, it's been very hectic in my day-to-day life. Been working a lot of hours, and I've kind of hurt my back recently, so things are kind of iffy right now, but hopefully we get back onto a better schedule here pretty soon. Anyway, I appreciate everybody watching this video. Be sure to leave a like, a comment, and all that other good stuff, and a follow, of course. And thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome day.